can identify those ones that just.
Lila, can you hear us? Lila?
Yes.
Amazing. We'll take it.
You got plans afterwards, or? Oh, nice.
I'm going Friday night, so that should be good. We call it to order?
We got a quorum.
Go ahead and call the meeting to order. This time we'll do roll call.
Supervisors Holm, Altringer, Conley, Hawkinsmith, McCoy,
Here?
Mayers, Ramey, O'Connor, Benz,
Here.
Elrod, Merrifield, Edwards, Boson, Jack Marks, Z, James, Michelson, Darren Feld, Troball, Phillips,
Here.
Borowski, Karzin, Lindquist, Anderson, Andewig, Trimble, Jones, School Boards, Clays, Vandahar, Carpenter, Norris, Chamberlain, Hill, Christensen, Ernst, Kent, Starr,
Here.
Brand. So we have a quorum.
We do have a quorum. I know everyone has received a copy of the minutes that were mailed to you. I would ask at this time for a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of March 18th, 2024 and approve as printed. Very good. At this time, we will consider the proposed consolidated budget for the counties. Oh, yes, we need to vote, sorry.
Do you want me to do roll call, or you just want to say all in favor?
Yeah, we'll just do all in favor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. And then, at this time, we'll go ahead and have Randy cover the consolidated budget for the assessor's office from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I sent out my proposed budget about a week ago, both by mail and email. And emails, we had a little bit of mix-up, like I sent it to the whole school board for Des Moines School Board, so I got everybody's response on that. Also, at the request of Mayor Edwards, this is the first time we sent out calendar invites. And we had a wrinkle here or there. We have Thunderbird, we don't have Outlook in my office, so some of the things, being the first time, we'll have worked out next time, so thanks for your patience on that. My proposed budget, some highlights I put in my cover letter that I sent out. I had proposed 5% COLA. That's really, to clarify that, that's more like a 3% COLA. Then I added an additional 2% for catch up for the, I went back beginning fiscal year ending 20, 21, and 22. The non-bargaining employees of Polk County got 3%. My office got 2.5%. So that's like a 1.5% difference over those 3 years. I thought we had 4 years, but I verified with Deb Anderson there was only 3 of those years where we were off. So the 3% COLA that the county negotiated with the unions, I added 2%. It probably should have been 1.5% to get that catch up before, for where we were short there for those 3 years. In addition to that, I'm proposing a 5% merit increase for my chief deputy and myself. I know last year Polk County did a compensation study that covered, I think, every office in Polk County. It didn't cover my office, obviously, because we're not technically Polk County, under Polk County. So I wish my office would have been involved, because I think when you compare our salaries with the rest of the assessors in the state of Iowa, I believe we're underpaid. And regardless of what comparison unit you look at, whether it's salary by number of parcels, by total assessed value, number of employees, budget expenditures, anything like that, I think you would come to the same agreement that we are. So I'm asking for just a 5% increase, a merit increase for my chief deputy and myself. Total of 10, yes, for just the 2 of us. Then I also had itemized funds for contracting with Cyclomedia again. This is the company that drives around, takes pictures of the houses, 360-degree. It's been very popular. It's worked very well. Last year I talked about doing this every even-numbered year. So this is where we're going to do another drive beginning in the spring of 2026. And then we're going to spread that cost out over 2 fiscal years. Half of it will come out of this proposed budget. The second half will come out the proposed budget for next year. So half the cost is going to be around $310,000 in this year's budget. I know a lot of cities are using that. Polk County uses it. Some Polk County departments use it at no additional charge. So all the cost is incurred through my office, approved by you, the conference board. Also, this next one is going to be the big one. I put $391,175 on my cover letter. I'm going to change that to $500,000. This is to pay for a third-party vendor to buy their product and install it. It's a computer-assisted mass appraisal product that's going to replace our in-house programs that we've had for the last 35 years. My programmer is getting ready to retire. She wants to retire real bad. But before that happens, though, we have to have a software in place that's going to replace her, because we've tried really hard the last 4 or 5 years to find a programmer to replace her, and nobody wants to do it. Everybody wants to build their own little baby like she has. They don't want to take somebody else's product and try to work with it. So we're going to have to go to a vendor. I was hoping not to do that, but we're going to have to do it. So that $500,000 Right now, that's sitting in a unreserved designated fund that this conference board put $250,000 away for 2 years in a row, about 5 or 6 years ago, or 7 years ago, to prepare for this. So that money's already been accounted for. So I want to move that money from the unreserved designated fund up into an expense line item. I'll ask you to do a motion on that if you approve to do so. I'll ask you to do a motion, so I put that in the record, and I can't use that money for any other purpose other than to buy the software and install it. That's the only purpose it can be used for. So it won't be used for any other expense item in my office. And the proposed budget estimates the revenue that's going to have to be drawn by the property tax to be around $7.86 million. That's going to be 2% less than was estimated last year. Last year was around $8 million. So the revenue from the property tax is going to go down approximately 2%. Same with the property taxation rate per $1,000 of valuation. On this proposed budget, it's approximately 24.4 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. Last year was approximately 25.8 cents per $1,000 of valuation. So both the revenue is going to go down, the tax rate is going to go down as well. And just so you know, the statutory limit on that tax rate for assessors is around 67.5 cents per $1,000 of valuation. So I'm right around 1/3 of that statutory limit with our tax rate. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments at this time for discussion?
Hey, Randy, this is Jackie Norris, and I'm definitely new to the process. I just have a quick question about your salary as it relates to performance. And I'm just asking you to teach me how or who assesses or gives feedback to you on your performance. And I know you're clearly a highly competent leader. I'm actually just curious because you stand alone so differently than some of the other offices.
And I'm sorry, I missed the first part of your question.
I'm actually just wondering how you get feedback. So when you think about other elected officials get feedback because they're either elected or not, since you don't find yourself as an elected official, is there an entity that kind of assesses performance to then determine that the merit increase is warranted? This is me just being curious.
Yeah, I would argue that the public's my feedback. I mean, I hear from the public almost every day. The process, the product that we put out, subject to appeal by the public. So we have a protest period where the public can come in and appeal the numbers that we put on there. The conference board here, they would also be a body that evaluates what I do, I would think. They're the ones that appoint me, they're the ones that approve my budget, the ones that reappoint me if they choose to do so. But other than that, there's
and Randy, just so I'm clear, are we all the conference board? This is new, so I'm just asking you to educate, or is there a smaller group that does that?
No, you're all the conference board. The conference board is made up of 3 units. Board of Supervisors are 1 unit. They get 1 vote. All the mayors of the incorporated cities in Polk County that we assess property, they're the 2nd unit, and they get 1 vote. And the school boards of each high school district in Polk County, you appoint 1 member from your board of directors to sit on the conference board for a 1-year term. That person can be reappointed each year, but you have 1 person from your board that sits on the conference board, and the schools get 1 vote. So there's 3 votes, 3 units, the 1 vote for each unit.
Great, thank you for teaching me.
You're welcome. Angela?
On the cost of living, I know you had an explanation about the 2% that wasn't done in the last couple years. what we've always tried to do is be consistent what the rest of the county employees have gotten. And the county employees, as we voted on today, are getting a 3% increase. So I'm not in favor of a 3%, or a 5% increase in cost of living. And then in addition to that, I believe me, I think you do an awesome job, and you probably get a hell of a lot more calls than any of us do, especially when it comes to protests and tax valuations and all that. And so does your chief deputy. But I think on top of the 5% plus another 5, that's 10. I think that's excessive, especially with the upcoming costs that we're going to be having. So I'll be a no vote on that, just so you know.
Okay, thank you.
I think that based on what we're all doing, you see who's speaking? I think, again, great job, but in this climate of 10%, I think it's an excessive amount. Unfortunately, you had to get caught up in, I mean, the 5% is generous in itself based on, I don't know about any other city, but the merit, I don't mind doing a merit, but I think we have to have some, I don't know if anybody on this conference board was part of it. I think in order to have a more study of comparisons, because you might need that compensation. But I think without a formal compensation study, I think it's difficult to give so much more than the rest of the county. And I know probably more than most of us will be giving in our cities, but again, great job. Just the circumstances were all played.
I understand, thank you.
Mike, I think.
Randy, I see the number for appeals in court is the same as last year, even with the re-estimated. It's still at $500,000. You think it's going to be $500,000?
I don't know what it's gonna be. If you look at the fiscal year ending 2024, the first column, we spent almost 300,000,
Right.
yeah. If you give me a minute, I'll put some,
You know how I feel about the
I do.
corporations not paying their taxes and taking us all to court and us having to, spend taxpayer dollars to.
Right now in district court, we have, for 23 assessment and 24 assessment, we have 70 appeals that are still pending. The total valuation is around just under 900 million, but the relief they're asking for is around 228 million. That's just a district court. For the property assessment appeal board, we have 279 appeals still pending, $252 million those are valued at, and they're asking around $80 million relief. So that's a contingency that I budgeted high for, thinking if the bad worst case scenario, we have money in our budget so we can go get an appraisal if it's necessary, or if we have to hire outside counsel, which for example on Prairie Meadows we did. Going to an outside counsel and getting these appraisals is not cheap.
Okay, so it's not just legal fees as well, there's appraisals are in there too?
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
Thank
Like Prairie Meadows, we had to, because Polk County owns the property, and the county attorney had a conflict of interest. He couldn't represent us.
Randy, walk me through, you mentioned on your salary, I just want to understand a little bit better. You said that you were not, I was trying to understand what you said the first part, that you had gotten caught behind for where the rest of the county was on the salary study, first of all?
Well, he did a salary study, which is a compensation study.
Okay.
My office wasn't included, and I said, I wish it would have been, because I'll give you an example, and I'm not one to pick on any of my fellow assessor friends, but for example, 4 or 5 years ago, Ames City Assessor retired.
Yeah,
He was making basically what I was making.
okay.
1/10 the parcels, 1/10 the value, 1/10 the staff, 1/10 the headache, everything. And the rest of the jurisdictions, we have more lower cost of living increases than what I see across the rest of the state. These smaller jurisdictions, they get pretty nice increases.
That's what I was gonna ask, where you stand. I just wanted to get a feel for where you stand in comparison, so. I guess I'm in support of that proposal. I know there's a couple that have said not, but I guess from my perspective, I think this office does a fantastic job. Wearing my attorney hat, I deal with a lot of assessors' offices throughout the state, and I know Randy's office is, from my experience, the most professional, usually the most accurate as far as making assessments, so I'll be in favor of the proposals.
Thank you.
I don't think anybody's ever questioned his accuracy or what he does. I want to know how you can justify 10% for an increase on salary when we don't have a performance review or any comparables. If I could look at comparables or performance review, maybe I could get to 10%. But I don't know how we justify that to taxpayers. That's all I'm saying. I can't ever say that he doesn't do an excellent job, because he does. He's probably one of the best assessors in the state of Iowa. There's no question about it. But I don't know how to justify a 10% increase without all those other things. That's my job to justify. Yeah, it should be as an elected official.
I can, assessors in Iowa do a salary survey every year. I could share that with you. And, you know,
I guess the question I would have is, what opportunity is there to amend this at this point?
you can do what you want, you know.
Well,
I'd like to have a published, or a budget approved so we can go to a public hearing on March 25th.
What-
So if you want to amend it, I think you can certainly do that.
well, if there's a concern that the COLA should only be 3 as opposed to 5 or something else, then I think it's within your right to propose that amendment and that adjustment, and we can vote on it.
If we approve it today. Study, if we approve it today, it can't go any higher than that at the public hearing, correct? Is that similar to what we do with
That's
facilities?
correct. If it goes higher, you have to have another,
Yeah, so
Public
we can
hearing.
go lower, but we can't go higher, correct?
correct.
So that's a possibility, is that we approve it pending review, and we still have the public hearing to review it, and you can modify it at that point.
Oh, yeah. You can only go down, you can't go
You
up.
can only go down.
Keep it as status quo today. Knowing that you're gonna give us those comparables, talk about it some more, and then we can lower it if we need to be lowered.
Yes.
Okay, so the public hearing could go as planned on the 25th, but we will keep this as status quo for now, what you're presenting today, as I understand it, from everybody that's shaking their head. And then we will, we could lower it if we choose to,
That's correct.
by law. I'm looking at that attorney back there, okay. Mayor Andwick.
Yes.
That is, he's shaking his head yes. Okay.
So,
The motion would be to approve what has been provided.
we've actually got a couple.
Oh, you got some other things you want to do
Yeah,
before?
So
Here,
I guess what I'd like to do is, first of all, deal with the issue of special counsel. So I'd ask for a motion to authorize the assessor on behalf of the conference board to employ special counsel to assist the county attorney as needed. And that represents all the cases that are on appeal that he would need counsel for in district court.
I do that every year, Angela, because, for example, like Prairie Meadows, if they file an appeal, but You have to give me authorization to employ special counsel in a situation like that.
Want to move, I'll move that.
Okay.
And that's on an as-needed basis, so there's a second. John seconded. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Motion passes. So again, we need to do a special motion on the unreserved designated fund balance of $500,000 for the employment of software maintenance expenses. So I would entertain a motion to approve that expenditure. One second. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Same sign for those opposed. Passes. And now, this would be on the overall comprehensive budget, everything included. Is there discussion or amendments or issues?
I would move the proposed consolidated budget.
There's a second. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The budget is passed. And then the next item is motion to set the time and place for a public hearing on the assessor's consolidated budget. At this time, I entertain a motion to recommend March 25th at 4 p.m. for setting the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. And now, are there any other appointments that need to be made?
Yeah, we had a Board of Review member that her term expired at the end of last year, December 31st. Donna Kester, she's willing to be reappointed again. She was first appointed in 2012, and I would recommend that you reappoint her for another 6-year term.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Okay, very good. Donna, is there any new business to come before the conference? No new business? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Aye.